Hello and welcome back to the channel with me, the Orienteering Kid, where today we're still in Milan for day 5 of the TOREMooS Cup. Yes, we're here on the 5th day of the TOREMooS Cup, which can be found on the Tempo Simulator, the link to which can be found in the description of this video. Now, the first thing I need to do is apologise directly to Ramo, because I've been informed I've been pronouncing your name wrong for the whole of these series so far, but that is a mistake I will be correcting from now on, so apologies for that. Now, the last 2 days have definitely got harder in their difficulty, so I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what he's got in store for us today. So why don't we just jump straight into the TOREMooS section and let's have a look at today's event. Again, it is a 1 to 4,000 map, but today we've got 4 stations instead of 3, and it's a 4 meter zero tolerance. Now, there's a few more instructions to today. We've got the black circle going back to the fitness equipment instead of the playground equipment, and also black crosses being basketball and football posts or other objects. So I guess just anything that's a post sort of shape will be the black crosses. Again, I'll be putting all my answers in the top right hand corner of the screen, and yeah, let's just dive straight into it as we load and we go straight into station 1. Oh, so we've got the a bit of a hill there with the tree, the stairs. It's not that building, it's on that hill. I don't believe it's that, but it's on the south end and it's on the other tree. Oh, that's a nice station. There were a couple of interesting parts there. I think putting it on the wrong building there was good at the start, and I think that sign in the corner was unmapped, so I think that was another 0 there, but we'll check that as we go straight into station 2. Trees in the building. This looks like stairs at the back with foxtrot, bushes. Between the 2 bushes must be delta. Bush, tree, I think that's a 0. I'm going with that being the echo kite, I think. Stairs, wrong building, and Bravo with the bush. So again, it was another good station. I think the second task with the bit of cops at the back was quite good, and he's enjoying using the wrong buildings today. I think those have been 2 very good tasks so far across the stations. Another slower station, but I don't think that's too bad a thing now, judging by the past 2 days. And we will now go into station 3. There's the ramp going down, there's the courts there and the basketball. We want in the centre of the second court, so that one. I believe that's the wrong set of stairs. Alpha over there, nothing there, and that end of wall is echo. Yeah, I think that was another good one. If I've spotted it right, there's a little trick on the ramp there where it was meant to be on the wall in the middle, but both Echo and Foxtrot were on the wall on the left. But now I'm going through that, I'm wondering if I did that a bit too quickly, but we'll see whether that paid off. It's another 20-second station, so again, for quite a long time, but we'll go and do the final station. And, that's an interesting one, the black and white maps. There's some stairs, some trees. That set of stairs must be Foxtrot, and that set of stairs must be Bravo. On the bush there, Echo. In the centre of those trees, Charlie. And is it that tree? I'm going with no. Yeah. 74 seconds for 4 stations, quite a long time, but we will see how that matches up. Let's go into station 1. Now, we've obviously got this corner of the building here, and instinctively you would go, it's the foot of the stairs. There does seem to be some stairs in the circle, and so that would be Bravo. However, if you're looking at it carefully, you would see that the path here is at a different angle to the path going here. Now, sometimes that's not a good thing to use. However, another thing to identify is that you have these 3 black circles here, which I believe are the bits of brown. So this is obviously the middle one next to the hill, and then you've got the black circle at the back being this little brown bit that you can just about see behind the tree, and then this circle at the front being this pillar here, obviously starting another set like this along there. So we are miles away there, and that must be a 0. Then come across to the hill, and I think that's clear. We've identified this middle bit of monument being here, so it must be along to the right hand side, so it must be a foxtrot. We then come across to the front, and this is what I was talking about with this being unmapped, so it must be the equipment behind it, so it must be a 0, not echo. And then we move across to the equipment in front, and some of you may have realised your mistakes here when you suddenly see that this is another set of pillars rather than the sign here, and we want the south end of it. Fortunately, north is going the correct way for us at the moment, so it must be delta on this end, so that was quite an easy task. And then we move across to here, and we want the second tree along, but obviously alpha is on the first tree along, so I believe that is another 0, as it should be on this tree here. So yeah, that was a really good first station. There's quite a few zeros in it, but I think that's fine. Kept you on your toes, jumping back and forth, and yeah, I thought that was good. Station 2, we load in straight away, and we've got this between 2 bushes on a corner of open land here. So we look up and we see that delta is between 2 hedges, and all the buildings seem to fit and the paths work perfectly, so that must be delta. We then jump back and we are given this part of the woodland. Now if you look at it at a glance, you would see this tree with a part of it missing due to the photo distortion. But which tree is this? Bravo is obviously on this bush, so I believe Alpha must be on the tree just behind it at the edge of the circle. So the location we want is miles behind us, so it must be a 0. We then move across here, and this is the one I took the longest time on, trying to identify if there actually were any more trees to the right of Echo, but there must be, because what else is that tree other than one in this bit of woodland? So the answer to that must be Echo. And then we move across to 24, and we want the foot of the stairs of a building. Now I'm looking at this a bit more tentatively than I was before, but I'm going with what I've put, which is that you can just about see the edge of the building here, and the building looks rectangular just like this building, so I believe Foxtrot is on the foot of the stairs here rather than the foot of the stairs here on this rounded building. It's quite hard to tell because of the angle of the photo, but that was my first instinct, and I think I'm going with it now. So yeah, that one must be a 0, and then we come across to the bush we've already talked about, and that must be Bravo. So yeah, it was a very good station. I did like it a lot. I think there's obviously a couple of areas of photo distortion which you can't help in Google Maps, getting them from Street View, but I don't think any of that hindered the problems at all. Now we get to some of the more interesting stations that I wasn't particularly expecting today, and we have the centre of 2 obviously volleyball courts that could also be used as basketball courts, and we are asked to identify this bit between 2 basketball nets. So the centre of the basketball court, we've obviously got the one at the back here and then this one forward, so are we on the second one from the back? And there's only 2, so we must be, and Bravo is in the centre of the 2 courts, so that one is fine. This is the one I was the most tentative on, however. This one is puzzling me a lot, to be honest, because I'm trying to work out if I'm right or wrong. I believe if we follow this ramp round, we hit this bit of fencing, so we are at the ground level here, and if we go around and stand here, Delta must be on the lower staircase, and we want the upper staircase, denoted by the northwestern arrow in the control description, which I know is something I do keep banging on about a lot, about putting some of these arrows in when there's multiple features in the circle, but I believe Delta is on the lower staircase, so that must be a 0. But it's very hard to tell, and I appreciate it's very hard to tell, so I may be completely wrong, and we will find out later. We then jump across to the left hand side of the far basketball court, and we want the net on the far side, so that must be Alpha. And then we come across here, and I said I zeroed this very quickly, and I did a bit of an explanation before, but we can see Echo and Foxtrot are on the outer wall, and we want the wall in the middle, and we want the southeastern end of it. Normally I would say put an arrow in or put a middle in because we want the middle wall. However, there is only one southeastern end of the wall in the circle, so it must be that one in the middle, and it must be a 0. So I think that's fine there. And I obviously spent a bit of time checking here because I was trying to work out whether it was the end of the wall or the corner of the wall, so whether it's echo or 0. The control description helps here, and it should be the end of the wall, so it must be echo. So yeah, that was a very interesting station, not one I was completely expecting today, but yeah, it was very good. And then finally the 4th station, which again is a complete curveball with the black and white photos, but we will see how I did because I'm quite tentative with a couple of these solutions. So straight away we've got this building and the paths fit, and there's the group of trees and the water fountain at the back, so it must be this building, and it must be the end of this building here, so it must be Foxtrot at the foot of the stairs, and then we move across to that foot of the stairs. So if you thought we were looking at the wrong bit of building before, you may have put 0 and then Foxtrot, thinking we're here now, or here now, but actually we move back and you can see the staircase moves back a bit, so it must be Bravo there. Come out to the bush that we discussed before near the Foxtrot kite, the other side of the path to the rest of them, and it must be Echo on this side of the bush. And then we get between 2 trees here, and the southern arrow has been used to help identify which between trees it is, so that's good as well. So it must be the southern one, which is the left hand one in the photo, so it must be Charlie. And then finally, this is the one I took the longest on, it's identifying whether Alpha is the correct one on this, what looks like a tree here, or whether it's on this black cross here. But I believe the black cross is the bird box, which we can see which Alpha is on, as the tree we want at the moment is going to be in line where Bravo is with the stairs, so it would come in about here, or possibly even is this tree poking out the back, just we can't see the trunk of it. So yeah, there were some very interesting stations there. Station 3 and 4 were definitely not what I was expecting to come out of the course, but yeah, it was all very good. And now the last thing to do is jump back out and see where I am in the overall leaderboard. Again, I don't really know where I'm going to end up. I was very slow again, but slow times have actually been pretty good over the past couple of days, so we will see where we are. And I am in first again. Wow, 74 seconds for first place just doesn't seem right on some of these days, considering when we were doing the advent calendars on 2 and 3 stations, people were done in 30. But it obviously means Raymo is setting some very difficult tasks, and I am really enjoying them, to be honest. I think it's nice to be challenged. But yeah, so that's where I am now. That probably won't last due to the long times I've been spending, but we will see, and I will join you back here at the end for the overall results. Yes, we are back, and it does look like again I wasn't able to just hold on to that first place, as 3 people managed to beat me, but that is fine, that's what happens, and it seems to be happening a lot. But well done to Alessio for winning today's event, more than 5 seconds ahead of the others, and the Italians with the 1st and 2nd and the 6th place today means they are completely running away with the team competition, so well done to all of them. It does seem again though that it was a very slow day today with the 4 stations, but it does seem like it was station 4 that definitely let me down, because I should have been a lot quicker with that, I think, spotting the final 0. Now I have had a request to go through some of the station percentages, and I think that is quite interesting because it shows whether any of the tasks were particularly hard or whether they were unfair. If we go down, and I can already see a red column appearing with the echoes in the centre, and yep, that red column I just pointed out, and 11% of people got 13 right, so we will have a look at that when we get to that. And also 45% for the very first one was quite low as well, so we'll keep an eye ahead. 11 and 13 to look at for percentages. For station 2, if we scroll all the way down, it looks like the 1.4 was the worst one. Yep, at 37%, again that was quite low, with most people going for Foxtrot rather than the 0, so it seems like there's a theme with people not getting the 0s right in this competition. And then station 3, we're going green, so it's looking a lot greener, so no task had less than half the people getting it right, although 61% and 56% are still fairly low for those. So yeah, that station didn't seem too bad. And then finally the 4th station, which was the black and white photo if we remember. It looks like this final task in the column was the worst answered, but again 97, 96, 96, 95, still very well answered stations with only 20 odd people getting them wrong on most of them, but 76 is still very high. It was definitely almost a clear split between alpha or 0 there. Now let's go back and have a look at some of those less well answered tasks. So it was 11 and 13, so I'm not really surprised by that. You're on a corner of a building and the building seems to fit. I guess your first instinct is to go for Bravo, but if that was the case, I guess where is the hill on the right hand side in the field, and also where is this wall at the back, because we should be able to see a building at the back before the wall. So I think there were a lot of clues to point out there as to whether it was the right building or not, but I can see why many of you put Bravo for that task. And then it was 13, and this is the one I was talking about with the wrong item. Now I think only 11% of you got this right. Whether this is fair, I think it probably is, just because it's clear here that the black circle is this type of post, and you can see one of the types of post here, so that's surely showing to you that this next black circle must be this post. And this is a sign that is unmapped, and would you expect signs to be mapped on orienteering maps? Probably not, but this is something that I have debated for a while about whether putting controls on unmapped tasks is a good thing or not. I think here it's definitely on the boundary of being good or bad, but I think it's just about fair here. But with only 11% of you getting it right, it does seem like this task was definitely a very hard one. But most of you got the third 0 right. That's probably a bit clearer one, and because it's the last task in the station, it might be a lot easier to see that it's the wrong tree. Now the only task that people were getting wrong in station 2 was 24, but as I said before, the one thing that gives it away, because it's kind of unclear as to whether this is the right building or not due to the angles. Because of the view from Google Maps, it's quite hard to tell whether that building could be further away or could actually be closer than you think. But if we're saying that Echo from the previous task is quite far forward, then really how is this building going to be in view? Because we're stood about here looking through, and if we're looking through at the Echo tree, then this building must be coming up behind it, so Foxtrot must be on that staircase. But again, I can see a lot of people got that wrong, and in the heat of the moment and in the difficulty of the task, it definitely was something that tripped a lot of you up. I am surprised, however, that the percentage wasn't lower for this one. I think with me looking very closely at that, I can sort of picture in my head there being 2 levels of that staircase, which could suggest that Delta is on the higher end of the 2. However, I think the way I described it, following this fence along and Delta is below that fence, must mean following this bit along and Delta being below that bit. It definitely shows that Delta is on the lower staircase there. But yeah, I think that's good that a lot of people got that right, but I think this one was definitely the harder one, and if you're not looking at the control description or the map closely enough, you could definitely put Foxtrot here, or if you're going too quick, to be honest, as well. But yeah, that one looks fine. That was the worst answered of the station, but I think that's fine. There's always going to be 1 or 2 hard ones in every station, and that task was definitely fair. And then finally, the only task that was poorly answered here, because obviously the first 4 were very well answered with 95 and above % of you getting it right. It was the 5th task here, and I guess the black cross definitely merges into the tree behind it, so you would be forgiven for thinking that that bird box is on the tree. However, there are signs to indicate that Alpha is on the cross rather than the tree. For example, the tree is obviously not to the right hand side of the black cross, so we're either going to be looking straight through it, meaning the tree is behind it and so Alpha is not on the tree but on the cross in front of it, or the tree is to the left of it, meaning the tree's not in the photo so Alpha can't be on it. And also this bush definitely matches up nicely with the black cross here. So yeah, I can see why there were some mistakes going on there, but I think that is a fair problem. So yeah, I think all of that was fair, apart from potentially the debate here about whether it's okay to put this on the unmapped sign instead of the equipment. However, I think we've sort of established that this would never be mapped on an orienteering map, and so I think if you're safe with that knowledge, you would know that Echo is on an unmapped feature, and so Echo should never be the answer to the task. And we've obviously established that this post here is very similar to the set of posts that Charlie and Delta is on, so that must be the black circle. circle rather than this sign. So yeah, last thing to do is go and have a look at the overall positions for the whole series so far, and I'm guessing the gap has closed a bit. Yep, so I was over 5 points ahead before, but now the gap has closed slightly due to my 4th place today and Alessio's 1st place, which again, well done to him for doing so well today. But yeah, I think it's definitely slowing up. I think TOREMooS setting some very good tasks, some very challenging tasks, as I keep saying. But yeah, I do genuinely think some of his events have been really good, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's in the second half of this series, because yes, we are actually halfway through this series now. We've got 5 more days to go, and I'm looking forward to the rest of it. So yeah, that is the end of the video today. If you would like to like the video, subscribe, because again, 75% of you now are watching the video but not subscribed. Why not just click the button? It's not much to you, it helps me out, and you also get all the notifications for any videos that I release in the near future. And then always make sure to comment any additional comments you think I should have made during this video in the comments section below. And that is that for today, and I will see you tomorrow for the 6th day of the TOREMooS Cup.